All right, Shalom. It's a brother Quashab coming at you with a quick lesson. And before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory, infinite honors unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me the truth and rule well. And peace and blessings, salutations be to the hopefully elect, as well as those that believe in the gospel, and may you endure unto the end, Lord willing. All right. And I just want to get into a lesson, just quick lesson, just based off of this article. All right, pretty much. Well, not an article. This is a screenshot that I took from I forgot. But one of the brothers posted this morning. I forget exactly who it was, but I believe out of Dallas. Hey, it slipped my mind. So lucky about that, but just showing that persecution is coming still. All right. I haven't been into a lesson of this in a while, but as these things start to turn up through the spirit, with these different ICE agents being deployed, all right, military, National Guard being deployed, all right, they're being deployed like they're going to war, all right, overseas, right, but nevertheless, they're being deployed right here in America, all right, which, a prime example, all right, was what happened in Chicago, all right, with that whole apartment building situation, right? You had, these guys actually dropping down, right? You actually got Black Hawks patrolling, all right, let's start there, patrolling airspace, all right, but you actually have guys getting out of the helicopters, dropping down on ropes on top of buildings, like they're infiltrating a compound or something, and when they went into that apartment complex, they took kids away from their parents, right? So-called blacks, all right, which is known as, the tribe of Judah, right? But in the name of looking for illegal immigrants, all right, from the Northern Kingdom, all right, which would be on these so-called Latinos and you Native Americans, man, all right, but mainly targeting, you so-called Latinos, all right, but while they're supposedly the main target, why are you coming after the Southern Kingdom, man? All right, Judah, you see? But that's all to show you that this devil, is getting ready to come down with great wrath on all of the tribes, man. All right? And that's what I said, all of that, just to say that, all right? The devil is coming down with great wrath upon all of the tribes, all right? Now, this guy, this attorney general, he said he's sending undercover agents, to infiltrate leftist groups, right, due to this recent shooting at the ICE facility in Dallas, all right, as well as the assassination of Charlie Kirk, all right, in which, it's a whole bunch of things going on with that information, right, a whole bunch of, suspicious things, all right, and I'm going to just leave it at that, all right, in which these devils, they just getting sloppy, man, but, this is all in the name of persecution, man, all right, this is all in the name of persecution. You see, this is why these things are getting ready to happen, because the prophets are getting ready to be persecuted, all right, and as the scripture says in Ecclesiastes, the thing that had been before is now, all right, and there's no new thing under the sun, all right, because you go into the books of the prophets, all right, in the so-called Old Testament, all right, the majority of all of the prophets were persecuted, right, and a lot of them suffered, very gruesome deaths as well, all right, as the disciples were persecuted in the times of Yahushua, all right, the believers, okay. Yeah, even other men that believed and, that actually taught that's not written in the scriptures, of course, but, everyone who believed on Yahushua was persecuted, man, all right. And these things are going to happen again, as we go through the same situation as we went through back then, all right, which we know is Rome 2.0, here in this society, all right. But I was talking with one of the brothers earlier, about this whole thing, and he actually went and searched up something, on Google, all right, and this is what came up. All right, now, I guarantee you, if you go and search this up now, it's not going to come up. All right. How do I know? Because I tried. All right. Now, this says a leftist group is a political organization or movement that holds left-wing views, generally favoring government action to address social and economic inequality. The term's meaning has evolved since its origin during the French Revolution, and today it can refer to a wide spectrum of ideologies. That's the point. It says, although specific beliefs vary widely, leftist groups typically share some core themes. An emphasis on equality, all right, especially in the social economic spheres, activism, a commitment to agitation and action to advance their vision for society. Progressive reform, support for reforms intended to lead greater equality, skepticism of the elites, hostility toward the interests of traditional elites such as the wealthy. All right, that's the point. It says favoring the interests of working class over those of capitalists. All right, but that's the point. All right. Yeah. Excuse me. And I went and myself in my own time, I looked this up. And I was on the phone with the brother. I said, man, screenshot that, because they like to play games and take shit down, right? And it just so happens, and I go and look for it, it ain't there. All right, I typed in the exact same thing he put. All right, tried a couple different ways to play with the words, and it wouldn't come up. All right, because these devils know that they have a short time. All right, why would they put a leftist group would have hostility towards the interests of the traditional elites, such as the wealthy, right? And who are the DuPonts, the Gettys, right? The Burgers, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all right? The Bilderbergs, man, all right? These are who all of the wealthy, the so-called wealthy banking families are, all right? And there's more, but I don't have to name every single one, all right? If you're in the know, you know. All right, now when I went and looked it up, right, it basically said the same thing, all right, but it said nothing about the skepticism, okay, of the elites, all right, and because of this skepticism, this is going to cause the devil to come down with great wraths, all right, because this, he likes to put things, ideas into categories, all right, when you're not with something and you against the system, all right, he categorizes it. All right, this is why he's called the accuser. All right, let's get this in Revelation 12. All right. Revelation 12:10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven saying, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. All right, let's see, who's the accuser. All right, we're going to go into this word. All right, the accuser, man. All right. Come on, thing. All right, so it says Strong's G 2723 categorial. All right, categorial. All right, which this word goes into the word category. All right. So it says to accuse before a judge or to make an accusation of an extrajudicial accusation. All right. Now it says to make a verbal assault which reaches its goal. You see, to accuse, in which these are different definitions. All right. You got atiama, right, which is 157. It says to accuse with primary reference to the ground of the accusation, the crime. The definition, a clemma, 1462, a verbal assault. 2723, categorial, to accuse formally before a tribunal, to bring a charge against publicly All right, and that's what this devil is using, his legislation. All right, he's using the media. All right, he's using everything in his power to bring a charge against us publicly. All right, and that's why brothers say, like we were saying on the phone, Jake, you gotta know what the fuck you're a part of, man. All right, for those that call themselves Hebrew Israelites, it's more than just putting on the fringes, right? It's more than just putting on a garment. It's more than just teaching. All right, it's more than just like the brother said and did a lesson on a couple weeks ago. It's more than just going to camp, all right, and doing videos, man. All right, because it's going to come a point in time where the camp is going to stop, all right, and the videos are going to stop. Okay, and what are you going to do then, Jake? You see, when there's no more camps to go to, when there's no more videos to be done, when the ministry is shut down because we're being persecuted, man, what are you going to do? You see, when charges are being brought against us, as what charges were brought against Yahushua, all right? Let's go to John 15 and 20, all right? Because as Yahushua said it, man, all right, if he had to suffer persecution, so will we. All right. Now it says John 15 and 20, remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. All right. And we read it in NLT, it says, do you remember what I told you? A slave is not greater than a master. Since they persecuted me naturally, they will persecute you. All right. And Pontius Pilate, all right, who's the governor at the time, he said, hey, man, I find this man guilty of nothing. All right. And he put his hands in the water and washed his hand. All right. And they said, what? Let the blood be on us and our children. All right. Well, those prophet killers, all right, those spirits are back, man. You see, as they sought to kill the Jeremiahs, all right, Isaiah, the prophets are old, So it's going to be a natural thing for them to want to kill us, man. All right. In these latter times. All right. Especially when you see the downfall of this kingdom. All right. Elder Manat Zagba and the other elder, I believe, is the elder Hanak. All right. Which is GMS dedication goes into, these different videos that they put together, with people just blaming the Hebrew Israelites, blaming, and really, it's really, you other camps, man. All right. Going around, messing with people. All right. The scriptures tell you to give no offense to anything, that the ministry be not blamed. All right. But all you're doing is just adding fuel to the fire, moving around, not using wisdom. All right. Just going about, just, not really knowing what you're a part of, man. All right. So when this persecution comes, it's going to overtake you. All right. And to the point to where, you're going to have that Judas Iscariot spirit, man. All right. To betray and, and offend men, and then men in GMS. All right. Men that a man may be in your camp. All right. That may do these things, right? Because he didn't count the cost, man. All right. Let's go to 2 Timothy chapter 3. All right. And I'll read 10 and read down to 12, right? It says, but thou hast fully known my doctrine, manner of life. All right, which is a letter Apostle Paul, the second letter Apostle Paul wrote to Timothy. All right. And I'll read it in NLT. It says, but you, Timothy, certainly know what I teach, how I live, what my purpose in life is. You know my faith, my patience, my love, my endurance. You know how much persecution and suffering I have endured. You know all about how I was persecuted at Antioch, Iconium, and Lystra. But the Lord rescued me from all of it. Yes, and everyone who wants to live a godly life in Hamashiach Yahushua will suffer persecution. You see? But see, Apostle Paul said the Lord rescued him out of all of it, right? In these times, the Lord is going to deliver us from the persecutions, right? When it tells you in Matthew, I believe it's the 10th chapter, right? When it tells you to take no thought when you're brought in front of the kings, All right, when you're brought in front of governors for the Lord's sake, all right, during these heavy times of persecution, man, you know. But Apostle Paul warned you that, look, if you want to follow Yahushua, all right, and that's whether you do videos, whether you subscribe, all right, or whether you just watch from a distance and scoff. You see? Hey, man, you watching videos? Hey, man, the elites, all right, they have a list, okay, with those who subscribe, those who watch. They have your IP address, all right, and they're going to make a move on you. You see? But see, we know these things, right? We know what comes with it, all right? Being ripped apart, you know, from our homes in the drop dead hour of the night, right? Being ripped apart from our families, all right? These are things that we have counted the cost, man, all right? In order to have a chance at being a part of the elect, you see? So, yeah, you're going to suffer persecution, man, okay? See something real fast. Let's see the word persecution. All right. I got a few more and I'm going to get out of here. I don't have to be too long. All right. It says oppression for the holding of a belief or opinion. All right. Damage or affliction. It says to follow, pursue, or hunt down. All right. Prosecute, to start a legal action, you see? And that's what the accuser of our brethren is going to do. All right, who is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, starting with the elites. All right, who of the family of Amalek. All right, these so-called JOOs, man. All right, they're going to be the ones to come down on us. You see? But see. Yep, let me get Acts 7. All right, I didn't mean to go this long. It's kind of just rambling a little bit. But this is Acts 7, all right, and 52. It says, which of the prophets have not your fathers persecuted? ? And they have slain them which shewed before of the coming of the just one, of whom ye have been now the betrayers and murderers. All right, you have who have received the law by the disposition of angels and have not kept it. All right. And hey, man, it's right on time. You know, it's Acts 7 and 42 in the NLT. It says, name one prophet your ancestors didn't persecute. They even killed the ones who predicted the coming of the righteous one, the Messiah, whom you betrayed and murdered. Okay. And they did it back then. All right. And we're the ones. What are we doing? We're predicting. All right. Or prophesying of the coming of the just one. All right. Yahushua, man. You see, we are his heralds, his ambassadors. All right. And what are they going to do? They're going to seek our lives, man. Okay. You got to count the cost, as it says in Luke 14. All right. Salakia. You know, let me get this one in second Esdras. All right. 1 and 32. It says, I have sent unto you my servants, the prophets, whom ye have slain and have taken and slain and tore their bodies in pieces, whose blood I will require of your hands, said the Lord Yahweh. All right. And the Lord is going to require that blood, man. All right. As you said, let the blood be upon us. All right. And our children. Well, the Lord is getting ready to require that blood from you and your children, man. All right. Because it's the times that we're in. Okay. End times, man. All right. And you've done it before. You're going to do it again. You see? But, let's see. I had one more. Matthew, the 5th chapter. All right. Because this is what Yahushua said. All right. It says, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. All right. So, hey, man, we know that this is a part of our reward as well, all right, that we're going to have to go through that persecution, all right? We're going to have to go through that straight gate, man. And it's not going to be easy, all right? We just pray that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua be with us. That's it, all right? And you can't denounce the fate. Oh, I don't believe in that anymore. You know, Jay gonna do that shit, man. All right, and the Lord gonna have an account of that, man. You know, but it says right here in the scriptures that great is our reward gonna be, man. So if you truly believe in that reward, all right, part of being the first fruits, receiving a crown, then the persecution ain't gonna be shit, man. You know, so bring it on, E. Ain't nothing you can do against us except to be sanctioned of the Heavenly Father, man. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I'm going to give all praises, glory, infinite honors unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash, and double honors once again to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations be to the hopeful elect. Until next time, I say shalom.